Hidden away in iPadOS, there's loads of little features, usability hacks and productive time savers that I make use of all the time, and in this video I want to share with you some of my favourites. This is actually a part 2 to my first video on the same topic, so if you haven't already, make sure you give that one a watch too. And I also have an Apple Pencil secrets video, so I'll link both of those in the description below. Once again, I'm not going to touch on things like multitasking and sidecar because I think most of us already know about those ones. So do hit subscribe if you like iPad content, and let's get into even more iPad tips and tricks. First up is one that's actually really easy to miss, and I think the feature might even be a little bit divisive, but let's start with it anyway. Did you know you can have separate layouts for your home screen depending if you're in portrait or landscape mode? This is really useful if you find large widgets that work great in one orientation but they don't really work that well in the other orientation. There's no setting to toggle or anything like that to get this set up. Your iPad should already be doing it. All you need to do is to arrange your home screens and widgets how you like in landscape and in portrait mode, and then when you rotate your iPad, it should remember each layout. This is something I wish I knew about a little bit sooner, and you can ignore it if you want, but I actually really like it and I'm glad it's here. Sticking with the home screen for this next tip, if you are thinking of moving apps around or redesigning your home screen in general, you can actually move multiple apps at once, making the whole process easier. To do this, simply enter into jiggle mode and keep your finger on one app while touching the other apps you'd like to move. They will then all stack under your finger and you can move them all to somewhere else, like a new folder or a different screen entirely. This action is actually part of a wider gesture on the iPad. For example, if you want to copy lots of images into one document, you can employ the same tactic of holding your finger down, then tapping the other items you want to bring with you. This works in apps like Files and Safari as well, and it's a really useful feature. Give it a go if you think there's some way you can do it. This next tip is probably one of my favourites, I think, and it's one I use all the time when I'm on the iPad. It's opening up a link in Safari as a multitasking window. To explain that best, let's say someone sends you a link or you're deep into your emails and you don't want to navigate away from them to see a website link that someone sent you. You can open that nice and easily by holding a finger down on the link text, and then you can drag it over to the left or right of the screen on the iPad for it to pop it into a Safari multitasking window. I absolutely love this, it's super useful, and I really like how it's implemented so you can carry on doing what you're doing. If you do need to see the link though and you don't want a separate window or anything like that, you can just hold your finger down on a link to see a quick preview of what it looks like, which is cool too, but I much prefer the other way. Jumping off from that gesture is another one with a very similar effect. This tip is based around the Files app and is really helpful if you're transferring loads of files from one place to another, or if you just need more space to see what you're doing. In a similar vein to the last tip, if you're within the Files app and you want to open a file but also stay in the location you're in, you can hold your finger down on a folder and drag it over to the left or right again to open that file in a separate multitasking window. This is crazy useful if you're transferring files to a different location, and you can combine this with the stacking tip I showed you earlier to move around multiple files at once really easily. I love this one, and it's one that I use all the time. Up next is background sounds, and this isn't actually limited to the iPad. You can do this on any device running iOS, and it's a really nice one if you're looking to block out sound or if you want to focus on one thing. Background sounds makes your iPad play a constant noise to help you focus or tune out. Sounds include an ocean, rain, a running stream, along with some white noise variants too. These sounds, as Apple puts it, can minimize distractions and help you focus, be calm, or to rest. To find them, head to the accessibility settings menu, then tap on audio visual, and they can be found there. Personally, I'm quite a big fan of lo-fi, as I'm sure lots of you know, if I'm trying to work or to get things done, but I know some people out there might prefer these more atmospheric tones. On the topic of background features, this tip will let you play YouTube videos in picture-in-picture mode on your iPad, so you can get on with your work or whatever else you're doing while keeping a YouTube video playing in a floating window at all times. Sadly, this isn't available on the YouTube app at the time of filming this video, unless you're a YouTube Premium member, and even then, I think it's not a feature that's sticking around, at least for now. Anyway, to get this working, you need to head to the Safari app and then go to youtube.com and then tap the AA button in the search bar and make sure it's toggled to request desktop website. Once you've done that, tap the AA button again and hit website settings and ensure the request desktop website button is toggled on. You only need to do that once, so don't worry. Now when you view a video and you go into the full screen mode, you should have a little button at the top left of the screen which allows you to place a video into a picture-in-picture mode, so you can leave Safari while the video continues to play. You can move it around the screen and control it too with the little buttons on the video, which makes it a really useful feature. This next tip is all about TouchID and how you can make it a little more usable if you're on the iPad mini or the iPad Air. This will also work for the iPad 9th gen and the ones before it, but I'm not overly sure how useful it will be on there. You can actually set the palm of your hand as a TouchID print on your iPad. So if you're using your iPad in landscape mode more often than not, simply resting your hand on the power button will unlock the iPad, which is really useful. You can set this up through settings in the normal manner. Just head over to TouchID and tap the option to add a new print, and then go through the steps like normal. I'm not sure if this is as secure as a fingerprint, so don't call me on that one. And obviously you want to be careful if you're holding it like this and the Apple Pay menu pops up, so keep that in mind. But this is a really nice way to unlock your iPad without having to specifically press the button. Okay, next up is a few tips in one, as they're all quite short, and these are all based around the keyboard on the iPad. And I must admit, I'm actually not a huge fan of using a keyboard on an iPad, so I don't personally use these loads, but when a keyboard is attached, I do make use of them. Firstly, a 3-finger swipe if you've got a trackpad on your keyboard lets you switch from app to app really smoothly, which is great if you're flicking between a bunch of different things. Secondly, pressing the Command key and the spacebar key together will open up the search field, which is a really powerful tool on iPadOS. You can literally search for anything from here, from apps or words within emails, the App Store or the internet. You'd be surprised at how much that search bar can actually bring up. And finally, pressing Command and 4 together will take a screenshot and immediately launch you into markup mode, so you can make notes or highlight something and send it on to someone else, which is a really nice speedy way to get that sorted. Alternatively, you can hit the Command and 3 button, which will just take a standard screenshot if you don't want to mark anything up. Before we finish, I did want to mention one more thing because it's already out in beta and it is coming soon, and if you're watching this video in the future, then it might already be out. It's Universal Control. Universal Control is a feature which allows you to control your Mac and iPad with the same mouse and keyboard all at once, allowing you to seamlessly use both devices without having to move between different input methods. You can even transfer files and data just by dragging items from one thing to another, and it's super interesting. This video is coming out before it's publicly available, so I can't show you firsthand without going through a bunch of beta software on my Mac and iPad, and honestly, I've got too much work on there to risk that right now. However, if you're watching this and it's already out, then don't sleep on this one. Go and check it out. It looks really awesome. So there we have another load of tips and tricks for the iPad. I've really enjoyed making these videos, so if a new iPad release comes out with a bunch of other hidden little gems, then I'll be sure to hunt them down and to make another video on it. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video and learned something new, then popping a like on the way out would be massive, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.